It's so interesting because so much of the focus on members of Congress is what their salaries are. And people, I think, legitimately get upset that they're being paid, $150,000, $175,000. The fact of the matter is that the salary is sort of the floor of what they can make.
A very profitable income-earning opportunity for members of Congress is through initial public offerings, or IPOs. Companies might offer legislators a chance to buy stock when it is first made available, a time when its price per share is potentially set to skyrocket. 14-term California Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi got special access to purchase Visa stock on March 18, 2008, the day before it was made available to the public.
Visa took Wall Street by storm today with the largest initial public offering in history.
It was one of 3 trades on Visa she made that year, totaling between $1 and $5 million. Visa's stock price jumped 50% in just 2 days. The timing of that IPO access coincided with House legislation that Visa strongly opposed. Pelosi, the Speaker at the time, never allowed the legislation to the floor for a vote.
If I came into your office and you're a senator and I gave you a shoebox with $10,000 cash and wanted a favor in return, if we got caught, we're both going to jail. If I come into your office as a senator and I want a favor and instead I give you access to initial public offering stock that's going to make you $100,000 in a day, that's completely legal. And that's what makes the IPO approach so brilliant and so troubling.
And no congressman has ever been prosecuted for insider trading, even though they have extraordinary access to valuable information. This was the case on September 16, 2008. Congressional leaders met with Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson and Fed Chair Ben Bernanke, and for the first time learned how bad the financial crisis could be. In his book, Peter Schweitzer reported that the next day, at least 10 senators made trades on financial stocks and funds, while the public was still largely in the dark. Congresswoman Shelley Capito, who sits on the House Financial Services Committee, dumped more than $100,000 of Citigroup stock. Congressman Jim Moran sold stock in more than 90 different companies, his busiest trading day of the year. All those trades were made just 12 days before the biggest single-day crash in market history, and 1 week before Moran took to the House floor to say this.
Mr. Speaker, greed is the accelerator that drives a capitalist economy. But unless you're willing to tap on the regulatory brakes once in a while, you're going to crash.
After Schweitzer's book, Throw Them All Out, brought Congress's use of that private information into the spotlight, a 60-minute story apparently forced lawmakers to pass the Stock Act in 2012. With great fanfare, they agreed to stop trading on insider knowledge and even set up a database to publicly disclose all of their trades.
There you go.
Yeah.
However, 1 year later, representatives quietly rolled back many of those disclosure requirements, and special access to initial public offerings was never deemed illegal for members of Congress.
Everybody knows this requires the Securities and Exchange Commission to enforce these laws. Well, the SEC's budget is written by Congress. SEC commissioners are appointed by the U.S. Senate. Everybody knows that the SEC is not going to go after the people that are setting their budget. So it's an example of them going through the motions of reform, but in fact of matter, it really doesn't mean anything.